I haven't checked in with Shohei, but from everything from the coaches, really positive, really positive. I think 30 pitches, 6 hitters. We're getting there. So today was a good day, and obviously we saw Jay for a little bit just to get him here and put eyes on him. But getting Will in the batter's box, taking some at bats. It's just good to see the compete from both those guys, and yeah, we're getting close.
So another live BP at some point?
Yeah, I think if it were up to Shohei, he'd be in a game in a few days, but I would assume another live BP. But we're going to make sure we talk to him and get with the training staff as well.
Velocity, everything checked out.
Everything checked out, yeah.
How much is the knee something you're still going to have to kind of manage the rest of the way, or is this one of those things where you feel like you're behind? It's behind you.
I think it's behind us. I think that certainly given the build-up, I think we'll be able to manage it. So
Shohei Ohtani has dominated the National League MVP conversation for much of the season, but suddenly, the race has taken a shocking turn. For the first time in a major awards ranking, Ohtani is no longer sitting at the top. Instead, a rising Chicago Cubs superstar has moved ahead of him. That player is Pete "Crow" Armstrong, and this is not simply a small change in the rankings. According to ESPN's latest MLB Awards watch, Crow Armstrong has now become the favorite in the National League MVP race, creating a legitimate two-player battle between one of baseball's biggest superstars and one of its fastest rising young stars. But how did this happen? Why has Crow Armstrong been able to pass Ohtani? And perhaps most importantly, can Shohei Ohtani still take the MVP award back before the season ends? Those are the questions everyone is asking right now. And the answer could come down to one thing Ohtani has been missing for more than 7 weeks: pitching. Let's break down exactly what is happening in this incredible MVP race. Shohei Ohtani entered the season with expectations that were almost impossible to meet. After establishing himself as one of the greatest two-way players in baseball history, Ohtani was once again trying to do something that almost nobody else in the sport could even attempt. He wanted to dominate as a hitter while returning to the mound after his second Tommy John surgery. That combination immediately made his MVP case extremely difficult for other players to match. If Ohtani could produce elite offensive numbers while also giving the Dodgers quality pitching performances, how could another National League player possibly compete with him? For much of the season, that was exactly how the race looked. Ohtani was producing home runs, getting on base, creating runs, and providing the Dodgers with superstar-level offensive production. At the same time, there was always the possibility that his pitching could become a huge factor as the season progressed. That possibility made his MVP case incredibly dangerous. But then the situation changed. Ohtani's knee became an issue. The Dodgers began carefully managing him, and eventually, his pitching workload disappeared from the equation. Now Ohtani has spent more than 7 weeks limited primarily to designated hitter duties. And while he has continued to be an elite offensive player, that missing part of his game has opened the door for another superstar. Pete "Crow" Armstrong. The Cubs center fielder has quietly transformed himself into one of the most complete players in Major League Baseball. And now, the baseball world is realizing just how serious his MVP case really is. According to ESPN analyst Bradford Doolittle's AXE system, Crow Armstrong received a rating of 163.3. Ohtani's rating was 154.7. That is a significant difference. And perhaps even more importantly, no other National League player received a rating above 134. That tells you something important. This is no longer simply a crowded MVP race. At this point, it looks like a battle between two players. Ohtani versus Crow Armstrong, the established superstar against the rising superstar, the Dodgers icon against the Cubs center fielder. And both players have very different arguments. Let's start with Crow Armstrong. The easiest way to describe his MVP case is simple. He does everything. He hits for power. He gets on base. He steals bases. He drives and runs. And he plays elite defense. Crow Armstrong recently became the first player in Cubs history to record consecutive 30 home run, 30 stolen base seasons. Think about that for a second. 30 home runs and 30 stolen bases in consecutive seasons is an extraordinary accomplishment, and he is doing it while playing center field at an elite level. Entering the final week of August, Crow Armstrong was batting .281. His on-base percentage was .379. His slugging percentage was .550. He had 25 doubles. He had 78 RBIs, and he had already drawn a career-high 66 walks. Those numbers show that Crow Armstrong isn't simply surviving at the plate. He has become a legitimate offensive force. But his offensive production is only one part of the story. The defense might be what separates him from everyone else. According to StatCast, Crow Armstrong entered Monday leading all of Major League Baseball with 24 fielding runs and 22 outs above average. That is an enormous part of his MVP case. Because while Ohtani is producing incredible offensive numbers, Crow Armstrong is impacting the game in multiple ways. Imagine a player who can hit a home run, then steal second base, then score from first on a double, then make a spectacular catch in center field later in the game. That is the type of player Crow Armstrong has become. But let's be clear about something. Ohtani hasn't suddenly become a bad player. Not even close. In fact, he remains one of the most dangerous offensive players in baseball. Or will Pete Crow Armstrong complete one of the biggest MVP breakthroughs of the season? Right now, the advantage belongs to the Cubs superstar. Let me know your prediction in the comments. If you believe Ohtani can still win the MVP, hit the like button. If you think Crow Armstrong is going to pull off the upset, let us know below. And don't forget to subscribe for more Shohei Ohtani, Dodgers, Cubs, and MLB updates throughout the season. Because this MVP race is far from over. Shohei Ohtani has lost the lead. Pete Crow Armstrong has taken the crown for now. But the season isn't finished. And knowing Ohtani, the biggest chapter of this MVP race might still be waiting to happen.